Good day everyone, welcome to this video lesson, and our topic for today is the sum and the product of the roots of a quadratic equation. Okay, the learning competencies to describe the relationship between the coefficients and the roots of a quadratic equations. Okay. Remember that the roots of a quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 can be determined using the quadratic formula x equals negative b plus and minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So from the quadratic formula, let x sub 1 be equal to negative b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, and x sub 2 equals negative b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we separated the plus and minus there in the formula to have roots of the quadratic equations. So ito yung represent natin with the roots of the quadratic equations. So let us find the sum of the roots using these expressions that we assign. So we have to add x sub 1 and plus x sub 2. And we know that the value of x sub 1 is this one. And x sub 2 naman. So we are going to add that together. So we have negative b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a plus negative b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So as we look at the given, we can immediately cancel this expression because they are similar but opposite in sign. Okay? Then we will add negative b plus negative b. So you have negative 2b over 2a. Then we have to cancel this 2. Okay? So the final answer is negative b over a. So the sum of the roots of quadratic equation is negative b over a. So again, the roots of a quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus equals 0 can be determined using the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So from this quadratic formula again, we'll let x sub 1 be equal to negative b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And our x sub 2 is negative b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Be the roots of the quadratic equation. And this time, we are going to find the product of the roots. So x sub 1 times x sub 2 equals the product of these two expressions. Since the value of x sub 1 is 1, so we write here, times the value of x sub 2, which is negative b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2ac. Here, value. Okay? So if you multiply that, this is a special product, square of sum and difference of two binomials, similar binomials. So we just focus on the difference of two binomials, this one. We square this negative b, we copy the sign, we square this one. So ang magiging result niyan ay b squared minus quantity b squared minus 4ac all over 4a. 2a times 2a. 4a squared ang denominator. So we are going to distribute this negative to the parentheses. So negative times b squared. That's negative b squared. The negative times negative 4ac. So you have positive 4ac. So you have now b squared minus b squared plus 4ac all over 4a. So yung b squared, ngayon ito, cancel na yan. So we have now 4ac over 4a squared. Then simplify yan, so c over a. So the product of the roots of a quadratic equation is c over a. So therefore, based on the computation, if x sub 1 and x sub 2 are the roots of quadratic equation, then the sum of the roots can be expressed as x sub 1 plus x sub 2 equals negative b over a. And the product of the roots is expressed in the form x sub 1 times x sub 2 equals c over a. So these are the formula to get the sum and product of the roots of any quadratic equations. So we base this on our previous computations. Pero para mas maging madali, tandaan natin na in a quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, pag divide natin yung bawat term ng value ni a. Value ni a, ang magiging result nito ay x squared plus b over a of x plus c over a equals 0. Kung titingnan natin yung linear coefficient at saka yung formula ng sum, ang relation nila ay additive inverse sa isa't isa. So, ibig sabihin, additive inverse nung coefficient ni x ay yun ang magiging sum noong roots ng quadratic equation. Samantala, yung product naman is exactly the same to the constant after we divide each term of the quadratic equation by the value of a. Okay? So, again, if the sum or the sum of the roots is additive inverse of the linear coefficient when a is equal to 1, while the product of the roots is the constant when a is equal to, let us have an example. Without solving for the roots, find the sum and the product of the roots of x squared plus 6x minus 7 equals 0. So if we follow the formula, x sub 1 plus x sub 2 equals negative b over a. Okay, so our b is positive 6 and our a is 1. So negative 6 over 1 is equal to negative 6. So that's simple the additive inverse of the linear coefficient. The product is c over a equals negative 7 over 1 because the value of c is negative 7 and our a is 1. So negative 7 over 1 is equal to negative 7. Okay? To verify if the sum and the product is negative 6 and negative 7 respectively, let us find the roots. Okay? So we are going to factor x squared plus 6x minus 7 equals 0, so we can find the value of x. So the factors of this expression x squared plus 6x minus 7 is x plus 7 times x minus 1. So then equate its factor to 0. Then we solve for x. Then if we add negative 7 plus 1 is negative 6. So that's correct, negative 6. Then if we multiply negative 7 times 1 is equal to 1. Okay, so it's correct. Okay, another example. Without solving for the roots, find the sum and the product of the roots of 2x squared plus 3x plus 1 equals 0. So the sum is x sub 1 plus x sub 2 equals negative b over a. So we simply substitute the value of b, which is positive 3. So we have here as the value of b, 3, and the value of a is positive 2. So you have now negative 3 halves. So we can just write our answer this way. Or you can have negative 1 and 1 half. So if you want to write your answer in a mixed number, while the product is 1 half. Because we substitute the value of c, which is 1, and the value of a, which is 2. So you have 1 half. So 1 half is the product of the roots. So as simple as that. Okay? Or you can write 1 half as 0.5 1. Okay? To verify if this is really the correct sum and product of the roots, so we are going to solve 2x squared plus 3x plus 1 equals 0 to find the roots. Okay, you have 2x squared plus 3x plus 1 equals 0. We are going to factors 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. So we have 2x plus 1 times x plus 1. Okay, then we have to equate its factor to 0. Okay, you have 2x plus 1 equals 0 and x plus 1 equals 0. Then we are going to solve for x. So therefore, our x now is negative 1 half and negative 1. So if we are going to add negative 1 half plus negative 1 half, this is negative 3/4. So how to add this fraction? So if you are adding fraction and an integers, so you have to multiply the denominator to the integer times the I plus the numerator. So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 plus negative 1 is negative 3. Then copy the denominator. So that is how we add fraction and integers. How about the product? The product is 1 half. Okay? Because our roots are negative 1 half times negative 1. So negative 1 half times negative 1 is positive 1 half. So we were able to verify and our answer is correct. Okay, so let us have problems involving the sum and the product of the roots. Find a quadratic equation whose roots are negative 3 and positive 4. So we are going to find a quadratic equation whose roots are negative 3 and positive 4. Okay? So remember that the sum of the roots is the additive inverse of the linear coefficient if a is equal to 1, and the product of the roots is the constant of the quadratic equation if a is equal to 1. So we simply get the sum and the product. So the sum is negative 3 plus 4. These are the two roots given. Negative 3 plus 4 is 1, positive 1, while the product is negative 3 times 4 is equal to negative 12. So then we will just substitute to x squared minus x minus 12 equals 0. So bakit ganun ang sagot natin? Kasi we always write our x squared. Yan. 1 ang coefficient na x squared. Then yung sum natin, ilalagay natin as the coefficient of x. Then si product naman ilalagay natin as the constant. Then equate that to 0. So that is now the final answer of this question. Okay? Then second problem. Find k if the sum of the roots of 5x squared plus kx minus 3 equals 0 is 5. So we're going to look for the value of value of k, wherein if we solve the equation, the sum of the roots is 5. Okay? So the formula for the sum is x sub 1 plus x sub 2 equals negative b over a. Or negative b over a equals x sub 1 plus x sub 2. So let us find the value of a and b in the given equation. So our a is 5, our b is k, and ours is negative 3. Then we will substitute this value of a and b in the formula to get the sum. Okay? So negative b over a equals x sub 1 plus x sub 2 yung formula natin. So papalitan natin yung x sub 1 plus x sub 2. It represent the sum. And ang sum ay given 5. Given yung sum natin 5. So instead of writing x sub 1 plus x sub 2, we'll replace this by 5. And the value of b is k. So we write here k, and the value of a is 5. Okay, so you have negative k over 5 equals 5. Then we are going to simplify. Okay, multiply both sides by 5 para matanggal yung denominator na 5. Multiply natin 5 kasi pag 5, makakancel na ito na negative 5 at 5 times negative 5 is 25. So you have now k equals negative 25. Okay? So meaning, the value of k is negative 25. So that is our final answer. Okay? So that is our lesson for the sum and product of the roots of a quadratic equation. So until next time for more video lessons. Okay? Salamat.